Chapter 2, Section 3 of Cup of Gold. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit Librivox.org. Read by Kurt from Tucson, Arizona. Cup of Gold by John Steinbeck. 3. So Henry Morgan came to be living in Barbados by authority of a white paper which forced his life and soul and body to kneel before the pleasure of one James Flower, planter. James Flower was not a hard man, and certainly he was not a very brilliant man. His whole life had been a hunger for ideas, any ideas, the creation of them. He wanted to conceive ideas, to warm them to throbbing life, then to hurl them on an astonished world. They would go bounding like stones started down a long hill, awakening an avalanche of admiration. But no ideas came to him. His father had been a stout English curate, who wrote stout sermons which were actually published, though very few ever bought them. His mother wrote poetry, which was a kind of summary of the sermons. Her verses were appended to the volume of rugged orthodoxy. And both his father and mother had ideas. Both were creators in a small way. James Flower had been reared in an atmosphere of, "I must be walking to my publishers now, Helen." "But, William, a glorious thing burst upon me this morning as I was doing my hair. Such a conception! It must surely have come from God. It will be done in couplets, I think. Oh, glorious! And it just fits in with those delightful words of yours on humility." Well, I must be walking to my publishers now to see how the sermons are going. I sent a copy to the Archbishop, and he may have been talking about them. Such a thing would start a great sale, I think. Yes, they were people with ideas, and often they shook their heads over their dull son. He had held them in awe, had been frightened at their greatness and ashamed of himself. And so, early in his life, he had made a determination to have ideas. His reading had been tremendous. King James' Defense of Witchcraft came into his hands, and he set about to prove it true. With the aid of ancient incantations and a black lotion which contained a number of filthy ingredients, together with a large amount of hashish, he attempted to fly from the roof of his house. It was while his 2 broken legs were healing that he came on Scott's Discovery of Witchcraft. The system of Descartes was causing a stir among learned men, and James Flower, too, determined to reduce all philosophy to a basic postulate. He laid out paper and a number of fine pens at his side, but he could never come on his postulate. "I think, therefore I am," he said. "At least I think I am." But this led in a circle and got him nowhere. Then he joined the new-founded school of Bacon. With persistent experiments, he burned his fingers and tried to cross clover with barley and pulled the legs from numberless insects, striving to discover something, almost anything, but he never did. As he had a moderate income from money left him by an uncle, his experiments were varied and extensive. A separatist of fanatic intensity had written a violent book in the best scientific manner, The Effects of Alcoholic Spirits, Momentary and Perpetual. This work fell into the hands of James Flower, and he set out one evening to verify some of its more fantastic theories. In the midst of his investigation, the spirit of induction left him, and without cause or warning he assaulted one of His Majesty's guardsmen with a potted plant. Had he only known it, this was the one spontaneous idea of his life. The matter was hushed up by an archdeacon who was related to his mother. James Flower's small fortune was invested in a plantation in Barbados, and he was sent to live there. Clearly, he did not fit in with orthodoxy and pentameters. And so he had grown wistfully old on the island. His library was the finest in the Indies, and, as far as information went, he was the most learned man anywhere about. But his learning formed no design of the whole. He had learned without absorbing, remembered without assimilating. His mind was a sad mass of unrelated facts and theories. In his brain, as on his shelves, Caesar's Commentaries stood shoulder to shoulder with Democritus, and a treatise on spontaneous generation. James Flower, who had cried to be a creator, became a quiet, kindly little gentleman, somewhat ineffectual and very inefficient. In his later years, he had begun to mistake convictions for ideas. If a man stated any belief loudly enough, he frightened James Flower, for he said to himself, "Here is one of those divinely endowed creatures who control the fire I lack altogether." End of Chapter 2, Section 3.